Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going to continue our discussion about the Cayman Islands' progress in meeting its Financial Action Task Force obligations in relation to anti-money laundering, counter-terrorist financing, and other issues as well. That conversation will continue with Ms. Elizabeth Lees, who's the National Coordinator on behalf of the Anti-Money Laundering Steering Group, and Ms. Justine Plenkiewicz, the Deputy National Coordinator on behalf of the Anti-Money Laundering Group. Again, we welcome you to call in, but we want to ensure that your calls are related to the specific topic that we're discussing as well. Also, bear in mind that if you have a question and you want to send us an email, send it to fortherecord@candw.ky, or you can WhatsApp us 925-3261 as well. Okay, back to you, Ms. Lees.
Thank you. You had asked me about suspicious activity reports, and I was explaining the many steps that we've put in place in this regard, from establishing the Financial Crime Focus Group, that multi-agency group chaired by the DPP to focus on this issue, the training and the outreach that we've conducted, and that new unit within the police. But of course, the fundamental question in all of these matters is, what have we actually achieved? And we're very pleased to note that we've seen both an increase in the number of suspicious activity reports being filed, as well as the number of entities filing. So it's not just the same entities are filing more, but we've actually got new entities filing, which is as a result of that outreach, the guidance that we've really been focusing on. And also we have an increase in the number of investigations that have been commenced as a result of suspicious activity reports. So all of these facts help support the conclusion that all of this work that we've been doing has in fact produced the desired result.
Okay. And so from the viewpoint of the governing body, what in terms of a rating, what would the Cayman Islands get, as far as a rating is concerned?
So the what's called the Joint Group of the Americas, which is a subgroup of the Financial Action Task Force, which will be assessing the Cayman Islands, they'll be looking for whether we've made sufficient progress on those 63 recommended actions. So we will be telling them a number of the things that we've told you today, as well as a lot more. And those facts and figures will be crucial in helping us to persuade them that we have indeed made that sufficient progress. And that final decision will be made at the Financial Action Task Force plenary in February 2021.
And if we're found lacking, are there sanctions that can be placed on the Cayman Islands as well?
If sufficient progress has not been made, then they will look at which of those 11 immediate outcomes. So they may say some have made sufficient progress, some haven't. Of course, we'll be arguing very strongly that in fact we have made sufficient progress, or more than sufficient progress, on each of them. But if they find that any one or more of them still requires further progress, then they will impose an action plan, and the Cayman Islands will be placed on the compliance document, which is also known as the grey list.
Now, I know also in the past and in my civil service life, the whole issue of a level playing field has also been raised in many instances. Are we playing more on a level playing field these days?
So in terms of risk and context, that is a specific area that's addressed. So the Cayman Islands is an international financial centre, and we recognise that. But we say that we've put in place everything that can be expected of us. And we, in fact, have a more robust system than a lot of other countries. So if there is any kind of unlevel playing field, then we certainly have all the facts and figures with us to support that argument. But we're not being assessed by the public, but by experts in their field. So we expect them to follow the requirements and the methodology, which is very clearly laid out, and we'll certainly be directing them to that if necessary. So we will be assessed by the same standards as all of the jurisdictions.
Can we speak a little bit about the leadership of the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force and the chairman stewardship of that and how important that is, and Cayman's role in that as well?
Yes, so Dawn Spicer is the executive director who's a member of CFATF. And then at the moment, Antigua holds the chair of that organisation. Previously, our Attorney General has in the past held that chairmanship. And it's very important that we play an active role and that we're visible and present in both CFATF and FATF. And we're currently members of 3 working groups. So we have a representative of SEMA on one working group. We have the director of the Financial Reporting Authority on one working group. And I myself sit on a working group for a strategic review of the FATF standards. So all of this input that we're giving is to assist both the working groups themselves, but also, of course, it assists in the reputation of Cayman Islands, ensuring that we are visible, as well as bringing that knowledge back to our jurisdiction and sharing it with all the relevant agencies.
Okay. Now, in many instances, fulfilling our obligations can be financially costly as well. And in most instances, do the Cayman Islands or any jurisdiction have to bear that burden themselves when it comes to additional staff or putting additional infrastructure in place to address the concerns that the either the regional or the international, the global organization may have?
Yes, so it falls on the jurisdiction itself to use their resources to accompany or achieve those aims. However, assistance is available. So we've had assistance from CFATF in terms of the executive director and the deputy executive director on separate occasions coming to the Cayman Islands and spending time working with us and assisting us. We've had assistance from the United Kingdom, who sent a targeted financial sanctions expert to spend time both with the agencies themselves as well as doing outreach to industry to provide assistance there. And we've also had assistance by way of a expert supervisor from CFATF who came and worked with our supervisors as part of a CFATF project to strengthen supervision. So the onus really does fall on the jurisdiction, but we've been very grateful for all the assistance that we've received.
Mm-hmm. And would it be seen as a conflict of interest if our local partners here, those partners that operate and do business in the Cayman Islands, were to contribute to financially? Would that be seen as a conflict of interest?
Yes, it's important for us to show that the supervisors are independent. But we have had assistance from Cayman Finance in terms of an e-learning platform that they've kindly shared with us. And that's a platform for financial industry to sign up to. Mm-hmm. And on there, we have presentations about money laundering, terrorist financing and proliferation financing, as well as specific outreach sessions in relation to the risk assessments that we've conducted. And we haven't really spoken about those today, but that's a really important area of our work, is to understand the risk so that we can address the risk. So we've done a number of targeted risk assessments, including terrorist financing. Mm-hmm. The Cayman Islands is an international financial centre, the special economic zone, and these are available on the AMLU website. And we've provided presentations to assist industry, and they're available on the e-learning platform.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, this one could be a little bit touchy, and but we've seen a huge increase in the real estate industry in the Cayman Islands. Some people say, well, we're seeing all of these huge structures being built, not necessarily targeted towards the local population, but other investors as well. So there's no doubt that the real estate industry would be one that would come in to focus. Without giving away any secrets or anything like that, how is that addressed?
So real estate agents as well as real estate developers are actually supervised by the Department of Commerce and Investment. So they are expected to have in place anti-money laundering procedures, processes. They are expected to, if they see something suspicious, to file a suspicious activity report. They have to do background checks, which in the industry it's called customer due diligence checks of their customers to ensure that there is no improper flow of funds into our local real estate market. If this does occur, then as I mentioned and as Elizabeth talked about earlier, they can file they have to file a suspicious activity report with the Financial Reporting Authority, and that will be investigated further. But certainly across the world, the Financial Action Task Force is expecting real estate agents as well as developers to put in place solid anti-money laundering processes to basically ensure that, or to help ensure that illicit money does not flow into any country's real estate system.
Okay, and we also continue to hear comparisons between the Cayman Islands and the City of London, and the competition between the Cayman Islands and the City of London. And some people will point to the fact that we're probably, well, I shouldn't say fact. Some people would argue that we are probably more regulated in many instances than the City of London. As far as our constitutional relationship with the United Kingdom as an overseas territory, our involvement in these organizations falls squarely on us as opposed to the as opposed to being under the umbrella of the United Kingdom.
Yes, that's right. So we are, as the Cayman Islands, a member of the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, in the same way that, for example, Bermuda is, or other countries. The United Kingdom is a member of the Financial Action Task Force, and our position at the Financial Action Task Force is via CFATF, not via the UK.
Yes. Yes. Okay, we're going to take a break. I know that you ladies were scheduled to be on until 8:30, but we did lose some time, with the news, so we're going to keep you on for an extra 15 minutes. We want to give you an opportunity to rehash what was presented to our audience so far, and for any closing comments that you would want to make as well. So, folks, don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. The conversation with Miss Elizabeth Lees and Miss Justine Plenkiewicz will continue after this short commercial break.